This program was brought to you by Organo Gold. Organo Gold is a health and wellness company that provides healthy coffees, teas, and chocolate. All one has to do is consume the available coffee, teas, chocolate, and other products to get all the available benefits. One can also share these products with others to help them improve their health as well.
And now, Fairfax Breakfast Club with your host, Besile Lemba.
Welcome to the Fairfax Breakfast Club show. My name is Besile Lemba and I will be your host. The Fairfax Breakfast Club is a weekly program in which we bring to you valuable and workable know-how you can use to improve your networking skills and grow your business. We always start the show with a quote, and today's quote is, "The drug scene is planet-wide. It is swimming in blood and human misery." L. Ron Hubbard. With us today in the show, we have someone who has been championing a drug-free world, and his name is Carlos Fenwick. Hello, Carlos.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
Yes.
You know, I never had somebody over here to discuss drugs. But I do want you guys in your organization to come and talk to us today because it is crystal clear that the widespread use of drugs is the most destructive things in today's culture.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And you can see this video over here. You can probably show up the book as well. One of the basic problems is that people do not know what drug is and their impact and their consequences.
Right.
Or even yet the price the whole culture have to pay for the widespread use of drugs.
Yes.
Tell us why you champion a drug-free world.
Well, I champion it. Let me start first. When I was young, one of the things that I wanted to do was help people. I went to school and majored in political science, and then ended up working on Capitol Hill for about 10 years to try to help people. That has been a part of me throughout my life. Drugs has been something that I've seen throughout my life as well. I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland, and as you may know, Baltimore is in a crisis right now. It's a huge heroin epidemic. Lots of people are just addicted to drugs there. Heroin actually was on the rise. Heroin deaths was on the rise from 2011, 2012, 2013. It went up about 80%.
Oh, really?
Yes. So this is definitely something that is close to home for me in solving the problem. And one of the things that we do at the Foundation for a Drug-Free World is educate. I mean, that's the way that we figure we can prevent more drug epidemics from occurring in the future. Education through the school system, education through our police officers to youths, education through handing out materials such as the DVD and these pamphlets to educators, to everyone, to understand what drugs are and how they are destructive to our society.
Not to get into the glory details, can you tell us a personal experience you've seen of somebody using drugs and the consequences it had in life? Let me start. I remember when I was living in France at the time, I was in a boarding school. And I was with this guy. He told me who he was. He told me he was taking drugs. But at that point, I did not grasp the whole situation. And I remember I was in the dining room. It was in a boarding school. And the guy looked at him. He didn't like the way he was looked at. Next thing you know, he flew across the room and punched this guy. And blood went right up in the ceiling. That guy, of course, got taken out of school. Got just thrown out of school. This guy who punched the other guy was taking drugs in life. So there's just some image that came in his mind. And from there, I mean, the guy, he didn't touch him. He just looked at him. And the look, for some reason, stimulates something or in his mind. And next thing you know, punch him. The blood went right up.
Yeah.
And just a simple example, this guy on drug punched the guys out of school. I mean, the whole thing was a total complete mess. Just like that. But I don't think that the people who take drugs know or understand exactly. That's why this material is important. I don't think that they understand exactly precisely what drugs are.
That is correct. I mean, that's absolutely correct. Not to go into any details or specifics, but I have had friends in the past who have used drugs as an escape or as a problem solver. I think that's what's happening a lot out in society today, is that people are using drugs to solve a problem. You know, they can't confront something, or life is too difficult for them, so they use drugs to escape. And plus, it's glamorized in what we watch
On TV,
films,
entertainment, quote unquote.
Right, and it's all around. So it's seen as this.
It's no big deal.
It's no big deal, and it's an event that that does not have consequences, or if it does have consequences, you'll get over it. I think that's the concept that's being pushed out there. But there are actually great personal consequences and risks to becoming addicted to drugs. So
that's an interesting point, because come to think about it, drugs, as we know, will affect your coordination. In our case, principally, our organization is to help business grow.
Right.
And when you bring the workforce into the work, people to work, if they are on drugs, they cannot perform correctly.
That is absolutely correct. Yes.
It just makes sense. If you're knocked off, you ain't going to be coordinated, you're not going to be competent, what have you. So that alone itself, in terms of human resources, how much money does that cost to the civilization or the culture?
Oh, it's probably in the billions.
Easily
in the billions. And you bring up a great point about how people are at their jobs, and if they're on drugs, they're not being productive. And a lot of what we see in the world today are people not producing what they need to produce, not doing their job properly. I think if we get to the source of it, which is the drug problem, if we get people educated to understanding what drugs do, that drugs do not actually help you do your job better, that they inhibit you from doing your job. If we can get people to understand that, then I think we can improve the society.
Or at least get them to understand is not what is promoted to be. Yes, people have the issue, they have the challenges, and then they think, well, the drugs will help.
Right.
The problem with drugs is that by nature they are addictive. So now you're going to be taking day in and day in and day in and day out.
Right.
And then the problem won't disappear.
Exactly. And drugs like painkillers, for example, or Tylenol or Advil, drugs of that nature, those things can become addictive as well. It's not just the illegal drugs, it's the drugs that are prescribed.
Properly administered.
Right.
Or even sold over in the stores. They have the same effect. We know of several accidents of people who took the Tylenol or whatever and then get into the car only to get into a car accident.
That's right. That's right. And what we've seen too, we had a briefing, the Foundation for a Drug-Free World had a briefing on Capitol Hill back in the summer of 2015. Okay. And there we educated congressional staff about our booklets, our DVDs, what we've been doing out in the field to educate people about drugs. And there, what we saw, we also had a person from the DEA there who told us about the big problem that's going on in Baltimore, where a lot of people are moving from prescription drugs to heroin. That's the gateway.
Okay, explain that to me. The prescription drug are not good enough anymore? Or?
The prescription, they can't get their hands on the prescription drugs. So heroin is a cheaper alternative for them. And as we know, in Baltimore, heroin is in abundance. So you have that transition from painkillers to heroin, which is a huge problem.
Well, we need to get this booklet out, much more. I think in a sense, the solution is kind of like a preventive affair.
That's right.
Doesn't matter how dramatic the trouble that you're having, the drug is not the solution.
That's right.
Because it is addictive, because it impairs the person's abilities.
That's right. That's right. And the two, it's like a two-pronged strategy that we take at the foundation to educate people. Especially youths, because there's a statistic out there that says that if you can get someone to be drug-free up until the age of 21, the likelihood of them not using illicit drugs in the future is great.
Okay.
So educating our youth about what drugs are and the harmful effects of them is paramount to our cause. And that two-prong approach is, number one, showing them the perception of personal risk that goes on by taking drugs, and also the perception of society's view of taking drugs as well. So
how do you show them the perception of society view?
Well, you do it by showing them what happens when a person becomes addicted and it affects the family. That would be one instance. Also, if you had a campaign with our DVDs and with our campaigns, we show in there how your peers would view you if you were on drugs, how it just affects your overall activity. And so that kind of perception, improving that perception for an individual, helps them see the dangers of drugs.
Okay. Where can people get some more of these booklets?
Well, you can go on our website and order them, actually, at www.drugfreeworld.org. You can also contact us. We have a contact number on the website as well, where you can get the booklets, the DVDs. Also, if you go on our website, you'll see our 16 different campaigns that we have on all the various drugs that are out there. So that's how you can get that information.
Okay. And your organization worldwide?
Yes, worldwide. Yep. We've been working in Colombia as well.
Oh, Colombia is a hot potato.
Oh, yeah, yes, that's right. And all across the globe. South Africa. So we're an international organization.
And the use of drugs, again, to come back to some statistics, can you tell us how much they are increasing in the society, or can you give us a little bit of information about that?
Well, I can tell you right now that about 208 million people.
208 million.
208 million people are on drugs worldwide.
Now, 208 million, that means the prescribed one, the recreational one, as they call
exactly,
it, and whatever, anything else.
It's all illicit drugs that are out there. There's about 208 million
Almost
people.
Like 2/3 of the United States.
That's right, yeah. It's a lot of people. So it's definitely a worldwide epidemic that needs to be handled, because like we've just discussed, drugs get in the way of a person's ability to be productive, to do things in life. And if we're going to build a future where there's lots of production and where there is a society building and being constructive and creating new ideas, and the workforce is growing, then this is one of the problems that we're going to have to confront and deal with. And the most effective way to do that is prevention.
Absolutely, because once they're in there, it becomes a whole other story.
Yes, exactly.
Because you're really like in the grip of the thing.
Yeah.
Where they can't get out because the withdrawal is an issue, but they can. They want to stay, but then they stay. It is a majorly messy situation.
Yes, it is. It is. We do have programs, though, groups that we work with. There's a group called Narcanon, where it helps people who have been addicted to drugs for a number of years. It's a rehabilitation, drug rehabilitation facility. And they use a method known as the purification process, which actually cleanses the body of the drugs so that the relapse on the drugs is minimized.
Gotcha.
So we sort of have a solution, not sort of, but we do have a solution for everything when it comes to drugs.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear.
Yes.
So you have the prevention materials, and you can as well do something in your program for people who are already on drugs.
That's right.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. Well, that's hopeful.
Yes, it is. For sure. Because, well, like I said, when I was a kid, one of the most important things that I wanted to do was help people in the world. And if we're going to build a bright future, we're definitely going to have real workable solutions to do that.
Okay. No, seriously, because the incident I mentioned, the guy kicking me, that guy was a great friend of mine. He was not a bad guy.
Yeah.
He was a major loss for me. Imagine in the middle of the school year, boom, the guy is gone.
Right. Yeah.
But it's not a rational thing for somebody to look at you to go and punch them.
No,
and
it's
I
not.
know that was because of I didn't even understand that phenomenon until later on when I started studying drugs, understand what they can do. Where you can have some kind of like flashback moment, even if you took them some years before.
That's right.
It was just a mere look, and then the guy flew across and punched the guy, the blood. And it was like we started. I remember it was like, what's going on? How could it possibly happen? I never figured it out until later on. Then I understood what happened.
Right, and he had, like you said, he had a flashback. So what happens is those drugs get trapped in your fat cells, in your fat tissues, and can re-stimulate at any time in your life. So he may have been on the drugs at that time, and he just had a moment again when it re-stimulated and just completely went out of, present time, and got into that irrational mode. So that when you have that kind of chaotic behavior that's all throughout the world, it's
combine it all. I'm
Yeah.
glad I'm not being punched, but
right.
please don't punch
No,
me.
I'm not going to. But yeah, but there's a real danger out there that's going on, and by confronting this issue, we're going to solve it. We're definitely going to solve it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that. I always remember that incident because it did not make sense at all. And I lost a friend. Talk about personal effect. I lost a friend. The guy was not necessarily bad, and the school lost. And then he has to go and find another school in the middle of the year. It was unbelievable. But it's crystal clear. If he hadn't been on drugs, that all this drama. We talk about one single incident.
That's
now.
right.
We're not talking about all the other incidents that he has been involved in any way, shape, or form. That can amount to quite a bit.
A person can really never go forward in life because they're held back at that moment. So we definitely, like I said, we're going to solve this problem with prevention, with education, and for people who have been affected by drugs, there are avenues to cleanse their bodies of the drugs. Like I said, Narconon does it. The whole program is called the Purification.
Can you spell Narconon clearly so people
understand? Sure. Narconon.
Very good.
Narconon. Yes. So if someone knows someone who is struggling with drug addiction, is having drug problems, and is ready to handle that, then they should contact Narconon.
Okay, I have a question. You say is ready to handle that.
Yeah.
What if they are not ready? What do we do?
Well,
I mean, how do we get them ready or get them to a point where they are ready? Because obviously this is, we can't say, sorry, you're not ready. I mean,
that's very true. A person, my personal belief is that a person is not going to be
help until they
helped
get help
until they are ready to get help. So the only thing that you can do, or the only thing that people can do, is continue to educate them and show that they are there for that person when the time comes. Because I can tell you, I've had personal experiences where people have, I knew what their lifestyle was. I knew what they were doing, and I did not preach to them. I just educated them, I gave them the material, and then they called me asking for help.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. Well, that's what we're talking about.
So that's what
prevention.
we're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. So, and I just remembered when I was actually, I think I was in 8th grade.
Okay.
8th or 7th grade, I was in the DARE program. Do you remember the DARE program?
No, I did not grow up here.
Oh, you didn't grow up here?
I grew up in Africa, Europe, and what have you.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Yeah. So DARE was a program in school that kids were a part of that was like a drug prevention course. But I remember not really understanding what was going on, why drugs were bad, and why they could cause so many problems. I saw the pictures through scare tactics and whatnot, and had personal experiences with it, but I just wasn't getting the right kind of education. And so when I say education and understanding, I'm talking about really full understanding of what drugs are. Like,
not how they are being promoted or sold.
That's right. That's right. What they do, what it means, like for, what is an amphetamine? What is the definition of an amphetamine? Making sure you have definitions of everything that's related to drugs so that you get full understanding on that. Gotcha. It's very important. Yeah.
Well, if we could have a world, a place where as people grow up, they are educated, being that is the number one most disruptive thing in our culture today, make sure that everybody is educated at the early age. That way they can make it to up the 21st year and understanding what it is and putting it off because they understand what it does and how it can affect their lives.
That's very true. Yes. That's exactly what we're doing. We want to make sure that people are getting educated, youths in particular, are getting educated
because
at a
they're
young
easy
age.
target also.
That's right. That's right. That's so right, because a lot of the information and education that youths get today are from the drug dealers. So sales.
The penny drop.
So sales 101, your drug dealer is going to tell you everything that's great about the drug, right? But not tell you what the consequences of them are. So a lot of the youths in school are getting educated, drug education from drug dealers. That's a problem. That's why it's so important that this information gets out.
Got it. Well, I just realized that the drug situation is made. Made, put together, most probably planned, designed, and executed as a program to destroy the society.
I would agree with that statement. For sure. You've seen it. I mean, there's talks of it and back in, 60s and in the 70s of campaigns to destroy certain sectors of society. So I would agree with that statement. Because that's all it would be. That's all. Why would you put drugs into a society but to destroy it? Because it doesn't do any good. There's nothing good that comes from drugs. Yeah. And, what youth don't know about drugs will actually kill them. That's a very important piece of data that we use.
Say that again, please.
What youth don't know about drugs can kill them. Yeah. So it's all about giving them data that is accurate, that is factual, that can be understood, so that they can actually use it in their own lives.
Well, this might very well be one of the most important TV show we've ever done.
Good. Glad I could be a part of it, for sure.
No doubt about it. Well, I congratulate you for all the effort, all the work you did for the drug-free program.
Thank you.
And please continue.
Oh, yes, I will.
We need that.
Yeah.
I think that that's what will salvage the civilization at this stage of the game.
That's right. That's right, for sure. And I used to, like I said, I worked on Capitol Hill for 10 years of my life. I took a break from from the Hill for about 6 years, and probably down the road, the next venture will be running for congressional office. So you'll see me, you'll see this. This will be one of my big campaigns that I will be forwarding.
Very good. Well, folks, thank you very much for tuning in. More importantly, I want you to watch and rewatch this program. Watch and rewatch this program. Share with other people. It is fundamental. The society is a group of people, not just a clique, all of us. Like in my case, I experienced that. I had nothing to do with it, but it's affected my life. Lost a friend and whatever else. So we are in it totally and completely together. If we want to survive as a society, we have to take care of ourselves. That also means that we have to take care of the things that destroy the society. And drugs is the number one thing destroying the society. And I witnessed that myself when I was young. Thank you very much for tuning in. Please get the materials, read it, understand it, share with others as widely as you can, and working together, we can bring about a better civilization, and a civilization, I would say, that is worth it. I thank you very much for tuning up, and I'll see you next time. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
This program was brought to you by Organo Gold. Organo Gold is a health and wellness company that provides healthy coffees, teas, and chocolate. All one has to do is consume the available coffee, teas, chocolate, and other products to get all the available benefits. One can also share these products with others to help them improve their health as well.